that it's ticking, so I assume we are live. It's kind of talking to you guys in the chat there, seeing who is all with us tonight. I know I did kind of a very short notice surprise, and that is my other phone here. But we're just going to do a Q&A just to get to know me with the pinball, which is probably why most of you are here. We did the interview with Pinball, and I had a blast making that. That was probably one of the most fun videos that I have got to do. And you know, it's one of them ones of, I'm just really happy that he took the time out, and you know, it's very humbling to, you know, kind of be a part of everything. So let's see, who all do we have in here? So we have Desert Lady, we have Christina, Lisa, Texas Raider, Nanny D. Who else do we have? Giving shout outs for the moment. If you guys have questions or anything, feel free. If you guys want to talk amongst yourself. I'm not as big as most of the other channels that you guys are probably a part of, which gives me a little bit of an advantage for the moment, because when we're talking about people like Pinball, you know, when we put it in the very beginning of the video, he's got 105,000 subscribers. And so to be able to have that kind of intimate talk and relationship to where you can ask a question, which he's amazing to be able to do not only one, but 2 live Q&As, is just absolutely phenomenal. So I want to be able to give back. I want to be able to pop on and let you guys get to know me, let you guys ask any questions or anything along that line. And I'm sure as this goes on, we'll probably have, you know, more and more of you guys pop in. Can you guys see and hear me okay? Can I get a 5x5 just as a check? Wait for it for a second. There we go. Nanny, Tamara, there we go. Now we got some 5x5s. That's what we was doing. All right, so open book, nothing's off the table. I will answer just about anything. You hear me twice? Yes. Okay. So I will answer just about anything. If it's, you know, within reason. If it's inappropriate, or, you know, anything that's OPSEC, too personal, something like that, obviously I'm not going to. But for most part, 99% of it's all going to be open forum. So if you have anything, completely open. We're just going to do a complete free for all. I'll give it as long as you guys want. Clear up to, let's go with, let's cut it off no more than about 45 minutes. So we'll cut out no later than 10. So, all right. So where do we go? So Nanny D, how do you know Pinball? Also, love the interview. Okay, so thank you for that question. Yeah, I love Pinball too. Like most of you, there's been a ton of comments on that video, and I'm pretty sure I got with most of you. I really like to be able, again, with being small, I love to be able to have that interaction to where a lot of these bigger channels, they're getting thousands of comments, and it's so hard, you know, to give you like, hey, I'll be in there for the first half hour replying, and then, you know, I've got to move on. For me, I can get through just about everybody. So I really like to take the time and answer, not just a quick, you know, thanks or something like that. I want to interact and really give you guys a true answer or a true response. As far as knowing Pinball, I know him just as well as you do. I've never met the man personally. I know he's kind of moved around all throughout his life, but with him being in Tennessee, I'm in Ohio. I'm just a longtime subscriber. People like him. There's him and another channel or two that really gave me the inspiration that, I'm humbled and I don't know everything, but I know enough that I want to give back. And so my way is creating a channel. And if I can help just one person become a little bit better prepared, then that's all I want. So, yeah, there we go. Silver versus fiat currency by Christina. Okay. Silver, gold, copper, aluminum, any sort of metal is definitely going to be a value. Now, fiat currency is going to be one. Now, I've kind of pushed the idea. I've had a few of you ask me about precious metals and different things, and I am not the precious metals guy. Do I recommend it? Absolutely. I have gold, I have silver, I even have some copper. It's going to be what your level of comfort is with it. You are not going to get rich off precious metal. And then again, that is not the purpose of precious metals. If you go back, and a lot of people tell the story, if you had a gold coin way back when, it would buy you a really good suit. Now, if you take that same gold coin, it's worth what? 1 ounce gold coin, 2,000, whatever right now. It'd buy you a really good suit. So it's one of those ones that precious metals hold their value all throughout time. It's one of those ones. Yes, I get the arguments. You can't eat it. You can't make change. You can't do different other things. But there is always going to be some sort of value in precious metals. It'll more than likely, the chances of precious metals ever in the future becoming zero, worthless is pretty much zero. It's always going to be worth something. So it is a good idea if you have the money and you're comfortable with it. It's a great investment to kind of diversify. So that way you can have a little bit of cash, a little bit of coin, a little bit of precious metals, and some other things. So hopefully that answers your question. Desert Lady, you're here. Yeah, you were the first one in the chat. So let's see. So we have Stephen. How are you? I'm good. Thank you. Thank you. Just hanging out and doing some Q&A with you guys, letting you guys get to know me. So go ahead and ask me whatever. Let's see. What else do we got? What are you focused on preparing currently? Okay. So my channel is all about the new prepper. So the person that's thinking about prepping, or the person that's in it for a couple of days, week, month, the very beginning prepper. And so for me, and I will answer your question, I'm going with this, you go with probable versus possible. So when I see a lot of new people, they make the mistake that they want to run out and buy the most expensive, shiny everything so they can survive the zombie apocalypse. And while that is cool and fun and all that fun stuff, the chances of that versus or tornado, a flood, a power outage, you need to prep for what is most likely. So for me, I prep for, like right now, we're in Ohio, it's November, winter is coming, so I prep for cold weather, for like power outages and things like that. I make sure all my bases are covered to make sure that anything that is extremely possible to happen, I'm covered for it, for me and my family. And then I help, those around me, my neighbors and stuff like that. Now, if you're going with kind of an SHTF situation, I foresee a couple of things that I'm kind of preparing for, and that is either something with the economy, so some sort of regional to worldwide economic crisis, or even full collapse. I'm preparing for unrest, whether that's regional or countrywide, and then I am preparing for global conflict. So we'll put it at that. I put out almost a daily video of what's going on with Israel and just different headlines and stuff around the world, kind of like what Pinball was saying. part of preparing is having that information. And so you need to make sure that you not only keep an eye out on what's going on right in your neighborhood, what's going on in your state, in your country, surrounding, because in today's society, we're all interlinked, whether that's economy, whether that's through social media, whether that's through diplomacy or anything else, it's all interlinked. And so one thing cascades down and it takes a ripple effect across everything. So it's a good idea to keep an eye out on all these, just data points is what I like to call them. So, what else do we got? Dun, dun, dun. We got some hellos. Desert Lady, as a seasoned prepper, what would you be preparing for at the moment? Okay, we just covered that. But again, it's November, it's Ohio. I'm going through and preparing for the snow and the cold weather, just in case there's a power outage. I've been in my location now going on 13 years, 14 years. And only one time did I have a major power outage during winter. I had fish and some other things at the time that nothing survived that. But I was able to, stay warm, have water, no pipes burst. We made it through just fine. But I'm going with what's the most likely thing that's going to happen. And that's what me and my current household is kind of preparing for at the moment. I'm not knowledgeable on generators. What do you recommend? I'm looking to buy one. Okay. You and me both. And I've been looking at some generators. As far as solar and some of those other ones, I'm not overly familiar, except for what like Pinball's put out with Opus and some of those other ones. Now, as far as just run of the mill, at my employment, we do multiple generators from small, suitcase size Honda all the way up to tow behind massive generators. And so I'm familiar with some. I had a small-ish Honda generator. It worked really well. It was actually a multi-fuel, which is what I would recommend. It gives you more of a diversity, so that way, if you have a lot of diesel, you have a diesel truck or you have diesel whatever, and you have that, if you run out of diesel, if it's a multi-fuel unit, you're able to switch it over to propane or anything along those lines. As far as what I recommend, I don't know, to be honest with you. I'm actually in the same boat. I'm kind of shopping around at the moment because I probably need to go back and get another one. So, who else do we got in here? No, you're fine. There's going to be multiple questions asked, so just keep on asking. Prepping in Ohio is different than Arizona. Any suggestions? Actually, I had family that lived out in Arizona for a few years, and it's definitely different. Um, I mean, the climate's different. The way, kind of like how we was talking, what I would do going out, I can literally in less than 60 seconds run out and touch multiple trees where I'm sitting right now. I can just walk out, a front door, turn, go down. I can touch multiple trees. Arizona, not as much. Same thing with grass, rainfall, different things. The different states, and this is one of the big things with a place kind of like the United States, Canada to a certain extent, Russia. When you have a big landmass, the way that the geography goes and the different skills and resources and everything that you have to have in all the different regions. I have never actually lived out in that desertish climate. I know, it gets very cold at night. I know it gets extremely hot in the day. Rain and water collection, doing some sort of water is probably going to be a number one if I was out there. Um, you guys have a whole different set of issues than I do. So, uh, man, I would probably, I'm going to have to make a video on that. I'm going to have to do some study. I'm going to have to do some talking and stuff because I do a lot of the stuff because of where I live. And I have people kind of like we had a guy during the interview that was from Spain. I need to branch out. So, you know what? I'm going to take your question, I'm going to write it down, and I'm going to do a video on kind of like warmer climates. So let's see, what else do we got? Dun, dun, dun. I did about a year research and got an EcoFlow, yes. The main thing was getting one with the lithium ion phosphate battery and pass-through ability, just my 2 cents. Well, thank you, Nanny. There we go. See, I love this whole community thing. Just because I don't have the answer doesn't mean somebody down here doesn't have the answer, which, by the way, in the pinball and the comment section, there was, oh, and I can't remember her name. Oh, okay. In the comment section, she went through and she did a very nice paragraph or two about the question on like a dual purpose plants. I was trying to talk her into actually doing a video with me because we went back and forth for a minute or two, and her knowledge of just kind of that plant based herbal area would just be really fun. That's one of my focuses I really want to do over the winter. I've got a bunch of books and whatnot. I need to study like edible plants and things like that. I know enough to be comfortable, but I probably need to buckle down a little bit more on that. The solar generators. Um, yeah, I need to look at some solars. Go look at Pinball. Pinball's got out a bunch of videos on generators. He would probably be a really good one to ask those questions too. Let's see, Michigan here. What is your favorite alternative heating options? All right, so mine would be propane. Now, obviously, you can use wood if you have, a fireplace or a cooking stove or something like that. That you can do a wood stove. I know you can do kerosene. Kerosene, and at least I had a kerosene heater for a little while. It can get very smoky and whatnot. But I actually have, if you watch one of Pinball's videos, he was talking about the wall mount or floor stand propane heater. And I actually have one of those. So he was kind of describing exactly what I have. Most people have, or I won't say most, a lot of people have a gas grill outside that has the little, what is it, 20-pound tank or so. And you literally take that tank, it's the same hose and everything. You hook that up. And I think when I read that on Medium, you can get 3 to 5 days of heat out of one of those. But yes, propane is probably my favorite go-to, at least short term. So go with that. Alaska Prepper is a generator addict. Yes, he is. Yes. You can get a lot of info from him on previous videos. Yes, I watch. I am a subscriber of Alaskan Prepper. I have asked him. I have asked a few people in prepping channels and whatnot. There's a few that have not got back to me, which I'm sure a lot of these people they're really big channels. So I'm sure a lot of these either goes to a spam or they just kind of get blown over, or maybe they just don't do interviews. I'll share this one, and I will not say the name. I don't like to badmouth anybody. There was one that I reached out to. I think I was maybe a month into YouTube. When I reached out to everybody, I said, listen, I know I'm really new. I know it'd be taking a really big, chance because you don't know my content and my views and things like that. But I'd like to do an interview. And they actually responded back to me and they said no, because I might take viewers away from them. That surprised me because this is about community. When I asked Pinball, I'm not trying to take anybody, and I'm really grateful that he, gave me the opportunity to be able to speak to him and do the interview. But as most of you put in the comments, I am a loyal Pinball, community or family or, viewer as well as I am. I'm not trying to go, here's my interview with Pinball. Here's all my subscribers. Don't watch Pinball no more. That's not it at all. It's all about community. And he says really great advice, really great content. He's got a really good opinion on a lot of things. If the off chance that I disagree with him on something, and yes, you're never going to 100% agree. I don't care if you've been married 50 years, you and your spouse is going to disagree about something, even if it's just what's for dinner. So, but I like the way that he talks you through his thought process on everything. It's amazing to go through. Now, at the end of the video, sometimes he can kind of sway and get me to look at something a little different. But then again, there's sometimes that I disagree, and it's fine. It doesn't make me hate him. It doesn't make me want to, unsubscribe. We just disagree on something. And so maybe I can come in with a different point of view and, help somebody in that aspect. What he knows and what his opinions are, is going to be geared towards a certain thing. So when I put out content, if it doesn't speak to you, it's not meant for you. If I put out something and it really, helped you, then that was made so that way you can get a benefit out of it. Not every video that a content creator puts out is going to be specifically going to help you every single time. Dun, dun, dun. Let's see. I had a propane heat for years and switched to wood stove in 10. Loved it. The only thing I use, always have a nice warm house. An alternative way to cook if needed. Absolutely. I want to get a wood stove, especially one of the old kind of like an oversized camp stove or tent stove, just so that way you have that multi-use where you can cook, you can warm the house. I don't want to get a really big permanent one. I'd actually like to get a tent stove, so that way, in the off chance of a forewarned bugging out, it would be possible for me to kind of like break off some pieces and throw that into a bug out vehicle and take it with me just in case. I've been pricing them and I've been reading some of the reviews, and it seems like every time I find one, I don't, there's something holding me back. So if any of you have a tent stove or recommend one, I would like to hear about it. Let's see. What about meetup locations? Prepping family, picking locations, route. How long do you wait till you move on? Okay, excellent question. All right, so for all the new people, if you do not have rendezvous points, if you do not have meeting points, if you do not have bug out locations, now is the time to do so. As far as how long, that is also one of the things that you need to do for either red flags or red lines. For me, we have both. We have red flags and red lines. When X happens, that's red flag number 1. When this happens, that's red flag number 2. If something over here happens, we skip the flags, that's a red line, that's bug out. Now, you should always have multiple points. So if you're at work and you need to get home, you should have 3, 4, 5 different strategies to be able to get home. If you're at home and you get wind that you need to bug out, you need to have multiple directions to go. Do not have just one bug out location. If you live here and your bug out location is to the north, and whatever the event or whatever is from the north working south, you're not going to go straight to the problem. You're going to have different bug out locations, even if it's temporary. So let's say a real bad storm's coming down. You can temporarily bug out in this direction, wait for the storm to pass, and then, come up here and then work your way back down. But you need to have it in multiple different directions. And if you don't have, this is the same thing as like having a fire drill for your house. You need to sit down and have a plan, and then you need to practice your plan. And so that's as simple as um, doing a 2 o'clock on Saturday. We're going to set an alarm, and when the alarm goes off, we're all going to grab, all this, and we're all going to, see how long it takes to grab everything and bug out. You grab the kid, you grab the dog, you grab, and just time yourselves and work on getting better. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, dun, dun. You had one in the past, maybe get a new one. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, dun, dun. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, yeah. That was really uncool to do that. And I'm not going to mention names. Um, and actually, let me say this: there are a few channels that I watch on occasion that I disagree with 90% of the time because they're doom and gloom and they're clickbait, and most of the things that they put out um, usually turns out to be false, or they make a mountain out of a molehill, or they try and doom and gloom to be able to sell product or something like that. But I like to watch them just to see kind of what is going on, and it amazes me um, the amount of followers some of them guys have when you turn it on and it's almost a nauseated thing to turn it on and just listen to the intensity of the sky is falling uh, tomorrow at 3 p.m. and then tomorrow at 4 p.m. they put out a video and they go, uh, something happened and so the sky is falling tomorrow at noon, and they just keep doing it and people just keep going back. So uh, that's for a whole different one. I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole. But kind of curious, have you or anyone here ever read the Foxfire set of books? I have the whole set, and there is an invaluable information of surviving off the land. I have actually had somebody tell me that a while back, and I jotted it down, and I never, I don't think, went back and re-looked at it. So I'm actually happy that you said that. Um, I'm going to jot that down and look into that because I remember whoever told me about it last time. It sounded really, really interesting. And they said the same thing. It was just invaluable information. Um, so I'm going to definitely look at that. And if you have it and you want, you can either send me an email or something along those lines, uh, and tell me a little bit more about the information on that. Let's see, who else do we have? Dun, dun, dun. Clarity Jane, Mara, everybody saying hi. Using constitutional silver coins and EDC bag versus paper cash. Okay. Um, so, yes, you're going to want to have some sort of a currency or some sort of a trade or barter in your EDC. You would probably want to have paper cash on an EDC, not a bug out bag or anything along those lines. An EDC is meant to get you home, and so if you're at work, you're at the store, whatever, and something major happens, and you're just trying to get home, chances are that cash is going to be more recognizable, and more people are going to accept it over gold. So if you was on your way home and it wasn't completely total chaos, you should be able to um, pop in a store or pop in somewhere, wave a five and go, hey, I'm going to take this bottle of water, and you should be able to make your purchase. If you did that with a gold coin, they would probably either not accept it or somebody would probably jack you for the gold coin, to be honest with you. Um, so, just my opinion, I probably would stay away from um, and I get it. Any of the silver coins, so any of the pre 19 whatever it is, because even if you do the pre 19 whatever coin that is silver, they're going to take it at face value. They're not going to take it for the actual silver value. So you'd actually be probably losing a lot of money. I would save all the silver, gold, and all that for that really long term, because if you have a lot, you're probably going to want to take all of your precious metals because it's a conservation of wealth. So you would hold it until everything blew over. So if it was an economic crisis, and let's say it lasted 5 years, when everything started to get, coming back to being rebuilt, that would be the time that you would take your gold and, really better yourself. Let's see, who else do we got? Don't forget to smash the like button. Yes, absolutely. Yes. Demo, please pass that info to me. I don't see your email. Where can I do it? It's on, and you're probably new. It's on every single video on my intro. It is theruralreport@protonmail.com. I didn't do an intro on this one. I'm sorry, I forgot. It's alive. Let's see. Hello, Beth. Let's see. Pre-1964 dimes and quarters, pre-1984 and earlier pennies are copper, and war nickels in the early 40s are 35% silver. So there you go. Good information. So yeah, it's one of those ones. There is some good channels out there that is going to be much better at doing the financial. I am not a financial advisor, so let me get that out of the way first before YouTube smacks my wrist or something along those lines. As much as what I'm comfortable saying is it a good idea to have some? Yes, if you can afford it. You're not going to get rich off of it. And you have to keep in mind, it's a preservation of wealth. So if we're talking, I don't know, so let's say zombie apocalypse. If you go look at and this is going to be really bad examples. If you go like Walking Dead or something along those lines, they're years into that, say like season 7 or whatever they was. You don't see any of that stuff to where they're walking around trading gold. If you're talking long-term SHTF, you're going to be bartering needs at that point. So honestly, things like water, ways to preserve food, so like curing salts and things like that. Homemade vinegar would be another one. Just different things. Sugar. Those would be the actual probably currency in a long-term situation. In the short term, 6 months or something after an SHTF event, it would be the probably, and again, in my opinion, it's going to be the things that people have like addictions to. So it's going to be the cigarettes, the alcohol, the don't do drugs, nicotine, things like that. It's going to be those ones that they've ran out. They're at that point that their body's craving it so much that they would literally take 5 gallons of clean drinking water and trade you for half a pack of cigarettes. And if you watch that Pinball video, like what he said, it's a good idea to wean yourself completely off or down, which I say that, and here I am, to wean yourself down, because you are going to have to get over it. If you are expecting to survive and you are addicted to something, now that can be caffeine to coffee to Mountain Dew, doesn't matter. If you're addicted to it, your body's used to it, you're going to have problems. And you've got to be able to deal with that. And whether that is a caffeine headache, whether, anything along those lines, you're going to have to be able to deal with that. So if you can, and I know it's kind of hypocritical of me saying it when I'm sitting here vaping now, get yourself down to at least a low point. So that way it's not going to be as bad. And me, of all people, know, when it comes to caffeine or anything along those lines, I understand, the stuff's legal. It's you're an adult. You can do what you want. And again, hopefully, and the reason why, for me, the reason why I don't quit is because it's legal. I'm an adult. I can do it. Um, and hopefully, you prepare for the worst and hope for the best. So I'm hoping that I never have to go through, you know, a meteor hitting or nuclear winter or anything like that. So hopefully, I never have to worry about that. All right, what else do we got? EMP preparedness, likelihood, and prepping for it. Yes. So, as Pinball said, he is definitely worried about an EMP. And you could probably even throw in like solar flares or whatnot. I don't know if you guys saw the headlines, but we actually had a G3 solar, magnetic solar, happen today. I think the main storm has passed Earth, but the leftover part still is keeping us in somewhat of a G3, which they were saying that a lot of Canada and some of the northern United States was able to see the northern lights. And I was even seeing pictures. They were posting it out of Crimea, I think, somewhere around in there. They were really beautiful pictures. But yeah, I definitely think it's likely. Um, and slightly off topic, but it still somewhat goes hand in hand. War has always been fought usually about resources. So in the very beginning, it was fought, for land, and then it was fought for oil. Now it seems to be fighting for microchips and technology and things like that. So if we're fighting for the technologies part, then absolutely, I can definitely see an EMP. And the scariest part is it's never been done. So it's that scary part of we don't know what's going to happen. It's all Hollywood and what we think is going to happen, but it's never actually been done on a big scale to where we know, this for sure is what's going to happen. So yeah, I think it's definitely possible. Texas coffee. Yes, I'm right there with you. Coffee is good. All right. Seeds would be a huge barter, absolutely. If you garden anything that falls, at least in my opinion, so bugs get to something and it's got a little bit of a hole in it, or maybe it prematurely fell or something like that. It's still a good fruit for the most part, but it's to the point that you're like, nah, you probably shouldn't eat it. I always take those are my seed ones. I always take the seeds. So if I'm doing something outside and I accidentally bump a tomato and it falls and splits or whatever, I usually take the seeds out, and that is my seeds. And I store hundreds and hundreds of seeds. So yeah, absolutely, that's a good point. Yes, coffee. Yeah. Using different routes to and from work or usual places to ensure you don't become a predictable target. No, you should use alternate routes. And it's up to you, and it's also going to depend on where you live. It's a little harder for me just because of my location and how rural I am. To give you a sense without doing too much for OPSEC, um, I don't have a business in my town. Um, I mean, I've got a post office, but I don't have a convenience store. I don't have a gas station. I literally have to drive to the next town if I want to go get gas, or I want a bag of chips or something like that. There's no place in my town that you can walk in and buy anything. Um, so for me, when I go just about anywhere to the grocery store, to work or whatever, I head in one direction. Now, can I go a different way? Yes, but it's miles out of the way. If say when I leave, if I got to come out of here and I turn left, if I got to go out and I got to turn to the right, to go to the same exact spot would probably put an extra 15 to 20 minutes on my trip. But for some of the other ones that can, if it's possible to take alternative routes, even if it's just going down 2 more streets and cutting over, it gives you visualization. So are they doing construction? Is something down there changed? Look at your houses. So if you take a route, and that is your most common route, take look and look who's got privacy fences, who's got big dogs, who keeps a good clean yard, what side of the street. If this side right here looks a little bit more run down, then if I had to, my car broke down and I had to book it, I know to stay on this side of the street. So there's multiple reasons why you would want to take different routes, so that way, so you're not being followed. So that way, no matter where you're at, you know your routes, your community, different ways to get here. And I would also strongly say, especially in the technology age, to get on Google Earth, and even if you don't do it, from the daycare to the house, from the school to the house, from work to the house, your most common places, how would you do it on foot? I encourage people to at least, have an idea, even if you can't necessarily do it, because I know a lot of people probably is, 10-mile, 20-mile trip to work. And so actually walk the 20 miles. Now you should be walking, yes, but we'll save that one for later. What's an EMP? An EMP is an electromagnetic pulse. So that is basically where they take a nuclear device and they detonate it into the upper atmosphere, and it supposedly fries things that are electric. Has anyone found a way to store insulin? Now that is a good one. I know what insulin is. I'm not familiar with it. I don't have anybody in the family or anybody even really that close to me that takes insulin. If anybody can answer best question on storing. Your town sounds wonderful. It is. It really is. There is more playgrounds and churches in my town than most of the towns around me that actually have police stations and things like that. So it's a very nice small little town. City prepping, suburban prepping, rural prepping versus deep in the middle of the woods. For me, being new on this, I tend to stick to putting out videos of that suburban-ish to rural prepping. There is channels out there. Angry Prepper, I believe, is still downtown New York. I don't know why. He's an amazing dude, puts out amazing content. I doubt he's ever going to watch this. Angry Prepper, if you watch this, get out, okay? I should probably do a video on that. I tell you what, that's a good one. I'm going to jot that down so I can break all that down. Sorry to ask, but with everything going on, do you think there's nuclear war, or am I overthinking it because every country has rockets and stuff? Okay. I'm definitely concerned with it too. You've got all these places. If you guys saw the video I put out, the Minister of Heritage, I believe, from Israel, said that dropping an atomic bomb onto the Gaza Strip is an option on the table. And that just got a huge backlash of things. But I mean, you've got Pakistan threatening nukes. North Korea always is. China's upping theirs. Russia's testing theirs. They just did a ICBM test from a new submarine that they're putting into their naval fleet. We just tested ours and it failed. Yeah, it's definitely very, very real possibility. Hopefully it's going to be kind of like Cold War number 2.0. Hopefully that never ever happens. Because again, it's kind of like what we were talking about during the interview. At some point in time, you've got a survivable versus non-survivable, and if everybody, launch off, it would basically be one of the ones that you would want to take a pair of sunglasses and a lawn chair and just go watch. You're not going to want to try and survive it. Now, is one nuclear device survivable? Absolutely, it is. It's very survivable. It just depends on your location, windage. If you can get inside, you know how to decontaminate. You know how long to stay inside, things like that. So it's scary to a certain extent. In my opinion, it's one of those ones that you're either going to have no notice, if any notice at all, and you'll probably be able to survive it, and it may not even affect you. It may be, somewhere way away from you. Or it's going to be just total mutual assured destruction, and you're not going to have to worry about it, sad to say. The scariest part is when it's right in the middle. So, they launch something and it crashes 30 miles away, and, it'll catch you at the bad time. That's one of my big ones. So yeah, we'll go with that. I'm very rural, also solar and generator backup. What security measures are good? Okay, I'm actually going to be releasing, because I had this question a lot, of home defense. So I'm actually going to do a little mini series on that. Now, as far as security measures, there is a channel called S2 Underground that put out a extremely, I couldn't do it better, video on how to set up a home defense. And they actually kind of made it fun because they put it in kind of like as, what's the Home Alone. So the way that you set everything up from inside the house to your yard to they had it as a city. So your city block to a couple of roads out, and how you set up different perimeters. Now you can do the same thing even if you live out. So it'd be your house, your yard, out to your extended yard if you have some acreage, out to your neighbor's property, and so on and so forth. Now, as far as home defense, it's going to be anything that you can put into your hand that you feel comfortable with. I know just about everybody's going to say firearm, and I 1,000% agree, but it's going to be whatever you feel comfortable with. And it's also going to depend on everything. So it's going to depend on your age, your ability, your agility, your stamina, and a lot of comfort. So if you are, if you're elderly, if you're handicapped, if you just don't feel comfortable, that is where it becomes being in a mag, to where you can depend on others to provide that sense of security, but you also have to be able to provide something for them as, the trade of being in the group, so that way you're pulling your own weight. Hopefully I'll be able to put out some videos on the different levels of defense and really take a deep dive into that subject for you. All right, so we are actually a few minutes after 10. So this was really fun. A lot of good questions, a lot of good people. We'll end it for tonight. So I appreciate you guys. You're kind of the whole reason why I'm out here, doing all this. If you guys want to do another live, another Q&A, let me know. We'll set something up. We can do once a week, once every other week. We can do a different day, different time, whatever's best for you guys. So I had a lot of fun making the video with Pinball. Is a lot of fun. I love doing this stuff. It just gives me that time to be able to do this. So, and I know a lot of you guys go through and do Pinball's Q&A, and you know how you do your question, by the time that you hit your enter, it goes flying up, and you're like, oh man, I got to wait 10, 20 minutes. Hopefully you only had to wait, 1 or 2 here. So that's the kind of benefit of being in that smaller channel for now. So, and I don't think that I'm going to get 50,000 viewers in the next, few months. So we'll be able to have a lot of fun doing all this. So, excellent. All right, guys. I'm going to let you guys go. Again, thank you. Have a good night. And I got a really special video coming out tomorrow. It's a ladies edition Pew Pew review. So make sure you guys check that out. So stay tuned. More information to come. Remember to remain united because we're all prepping in this together.